Hello everyone, welcome back once again to my channel. So in this video we are going to talk about Plab 1 exam preparation, and basically we'll be focusing on the study resources as well as its optimum uses. You can see all the outlines that we are going to cover in this video. So without further ado, let's jump into the topic. So before I suggest the study resources, study plans, and bombarding all the opinions regarding those resources, let me tell you that the preparation of any exam starts with the understanding of the examination itself. Like the patterns, what the exam is all about. Because this is so crucial step for the preparation of any examination. So let's talk about our Plab 1 examination. I know most of you already know about this examination. This examination is consists of 180 MCQs, in which you have to choose the most appropriate answer out of the 5 possible options. And uh, you know uh, so you have 180 minutes to solve the 180 questions, and you might be thinking, oh, it's pretty fair that I have 1 minute to solve the one question. But in the reality, it's quite hard and different. Because you have to read that long scenario and you have to choose that answer, and you take 5 to 10 seconds to write your examination in this OMR sheet. So this is true for 80% of the doctors who are appearing for the Plab examination. So time management is the key to pass the examination. I cannot emphasize more on time management. Like, you need to master the time management, and of course that comes with the practice. I can suggest a few things real quick. Like, you have to do more mocks at the end of your practice preparation a month. And because you have to familiarize yourself with the time bound mocks. And as well as, what you can do is you have to sharpen your concept, and that comes with comes after study, a lot of studies and revision that you will of course do in this preparation time duration. And you learn to pick up that clues and keywords throughout your preparation. So let's talk about the domains. The next important step is to know what exactly this exam will test you. And so let's talk about the domain. The GMC is pretty clear about what they are going to test you in this examination. So they have published a Plab 1 blueprint in their GMC website. Please go take a look at Plab 1 blueprint. Basically what they are going to test you is a common important cases seen by the foundation year 2 doctors, according to the current best practice in the UK. And you should be aware and knowing those common cases. And take a look at Plab 1 blueprint. They have already published in their GMC website. It is in Excel form. You'll have a pretty good idea regarding the domains of Plab 1 examination. Yeah, this is all about Plab 1 examination. And coming to our main important core topic of our discussion today, it is the resources. So I'm going to divide this resource section in the three parts. The first one is the resource. The first one is the resource selection. The second thing, we are going to talk about the detailed comparison of the few resources, its pros and cons. And the third thing, like how to use that resources, and do's and don'ts. That will be basically about the experience of mine. Let's talk about the resources. What I've seen is there are tons and tons of resources out there in the market, like question banks, notes, clinchers, etc. And with all these resources, because there are a lot of resources, you will have a lot of opinion. Because of the marketing and affiliate of those resources. And that confuses a lot of doctors. And basically you have that confusion regarding what to study, what not to study, which resources you need to choose. In this video I'll try my best to simplify those things. So let's talk about resources one by one. The first, the resources is Plabable. And yes, it is the most recommended resources. And somebody who have a limited time and can use these resources. And if somebody asks me like to suggest one resources, then that will be a Plabable. There will be no doubt on that. And the next resources is Medrevision. And I suggest Medrevision to those who can who have a lot of time, ample of time to prepare the examination, as well as uh, I suggest these resources to those who can be selective with their preparation, like who can choose, I have to go to this much of depth for the Plab 1 examination. And Medrevision can I suggest Medrevision to those who want to practice new as well as atypical questions as well. And yes, the third resource is Plab 1 keys. This is not the question bank. The above mentioned two are question bank. Plabable and Medrevisions are the question bank. But Plab 1 keys are basically notes. Somebody who are um, somebody who are using a Plabable, or thinking of using a Plabable, they can use Plab 1 keys as a revision node, because they are coherent and parallel with the Plabable. Basically those are the description gist of Plabable. And let's talk about the next resources, that is Plabverse. Plabverse is basically a organized node, and some of us are in habit of studying a organized node that we used to study during our med school. So if you are that kind of person, then you can go for Plabverse. You can use the Oxford Handbook of Clinical Medicine, as well as Oxford Handbook for a Foundation program as a study reference. If you cannot find anything or have a difficulty to study from the your selected resources, then you can go for these two resources for the reference. So now I'm going to compare the two leading resources or question bank out there in the market, that is Plabable and the Medrevision. A lot of the doctors have a confusion regarding what to choose and what not to choose. So I'll try to simplify it. So Plabable, you have approximately 3000 questions, and in Medrevision you have approximately 4500 questions. And the good thing about Medrevision is they have divided their question into a higher question, which are basically a old question or repeated question or recalls, and basically a question similar to Plabable. And they have also divided their question into non-hired questions, which are pretty much a new and atypical questions. Regarding the note, both of the notes are pretty concise and comprehensive, but the notes of the Plabable are pretty much precise note, and which are most of the time sufficient. And if you find the Plabable notes, like if you want to read further, then Plabable gave the link to study further below the description or explanation, or below their notes. You can refer to that link. And regarding the notes of the Medrevision, they are very much detailed, although they have the provision of this revision note, in which they have highlighted the main points or clues in the any particular notes, which can be useful for you. But the specific note in the each topic are quite detailed, and you have to be selective, like go through the necessary parts and forget the rest. And let's talk about the mocks. The mocks of the Plabable are like they have 16 to 18 completed mocks of 180 question. They have a fixed 180 question for 180 minutes. You cannot research like reset the mocks even you pay a fee. And in Plab, like in Medrevision, they have 24 to 25 completed mocks with 180 question, but they are flexible with the time and the question you want to do for the mock. So you can select any number of the question in any number of the time, um, and like you can research the mock for the free unlimited times, and you will get a different combination every time. So this is the pros of Medrevision. And there are some extra features in Plabable as well as in Medrevision. In Plabable, like you can refer to the comment section, because you will find a lot of useful informations and mnemonics and clues to remember all those particular topics in each and every section. Please refer to that comment section. I'm pretty much sure that you'll definitely find a lot of informations and helpful mnemonics out there. And next important features of the Plabable is search function. Like if you feel like you want to search for any topic, you can do a search throughout their website, and you can find the notes and question regarding those topic. And you have to pay for subscription again to reset the whole question bank. And the extra features of the Made revisions are they have this one feature called Smart Revision. So in which they pick up all the answers that you have done wrong and put it to the Smart Revision. And you can also put your questions to the Smart Revision so that you can revise that in later. And you get a free complete question bank reset with 1 year of plan if you choose in Medrevision. So let's talk about the Plab1 keys. The Plab1 keys are notes, as I've already mentioned. So in the Plab1 keys, they have this subject, and they divided each subject into the keys to cover the all the topics within those subjects. And each key is basically a gist, a description of the Plabable, like the gist of the explanation given in the Plabable. And they will they would add a few things like of their own notes, and they are trying to help you memorize those things. And the last resources that I'm going to talk about is Plabverse. This Plabverse is basically organized notes, and in each subjects you'll have this organized notes of each topics. And yeah. So let's first talk about Plabable. Any scenarios, try to read the last line of the question, because the last line of the question will give you a real quick idea of what the question is asking about. Then give us quick scan of the options. So what you have done is you have read the last line of the question, you know what the question is asking, and you give a scan to the options that are available. So you know the options, and you know the what the question is asking. Then read the question from the beginning. All right. So after reading the question in the details, it will be a lot easier for you to choose the answer. And this way it will save a lot of time during your examination. So whenever you are doing a scenario, uh, you know I have used this method, and I find it quite helpful, so I'm sharing this. So this way you save a lot of time during your examination. And do not pick the answer just by seeing the one line on the question or without reading the scenario. Or if you feel like you have come across this question, uh, and do not jump into choosing the answer right away. Because there are a lot of twists and turns in the examination, and the question seems like it came from the resources that you have been practicing, but there are a lot of twists and turns, so you need to be aware of that too. So after you choose your answer out of these five possible options, what you will get is you will get a short explanations in the Plabable. So in the Plabable as well as in Medrevision, you will get explanation in each option. At least read this description. If you don't have time, at least read this description, because this is very 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 much important. You cannot skip a bit of information given in this explanation of this particular question. And if you, even if you don't want to read the notes of related to the particular topic, please study this, please read this explanation. Just take a time to read that, observe the information, or note down the key like points if you want to, or if you are making your own note. And only after you grasp that concept, then move to the next question. I highly suggest to read this explanation. Otherwise, if you like just doing the Plabable for a mocks only, you are using this resource wrong, because in this explanation there are a lot of concepts and informations are hidden. And this is how you are going to build your concept. So please study this description or explanation given in each question and that you are solving. And if you have time, of course, you can always go to the notes. These notes are quite short, it will not take a lot of time. Take a look, and there will be a lot of information, easy way to remember, also illustrations. And you might get mnemonics sometime. So just take a quick look to the notes also, they are quite good. You can see that you can choose the number of question and time you want to do that particular question in. And you can also do like recalls or hired only questions in the mocks. But I there is a pros and cons of this flexibility of the mock examination. So pros is, if you have a job or you want to do a mock in a small chunk, this features is useful. But you will not get that real exam vibe or feelings with this kind of flexibility. So I suggest you, please, if you are doing a mocks in whatever resources, in Plabable or a Medrevision, try to do a 180 questions in 180 minutes. In this way you have that familiarity with the mocks and examination, that time pressured examination. And you learn to manage the time accordingly. And you have that sense of time pressure whenever you are practicing mock, and you'll get better with each mock. So do not just pause or get up in between the examination. Try to do a full mocks, and do not get up without finishing 180 questions if it is possible. And next thing I want to mention is that they will explain why that is your answer and why that is not your answer. And knowing this information is quite important. Like in Plabable, please, if you are using this Medrevision as your core resources, please study or read this information given in the options. And this is how you are going to build your concept. So let's talk about my experience, what I did. So what I did was I used to study Plab1 keys during my house job. I used to give a quick look in Plab1 keys to the specific section. Then after 2 days or 3 days, I come back to the question bank, my core study resources, that is Plabable, and I used to do the same section. That is, if I did my neurology section from Plab1 keys while I was doing a duty, I come back home, and after 2 days, like, I practiced the same neurology section from Plabable, and I used to solve those questions. And before the examination, I did 8 to 9 mocks. I did not finish all the mocks. So basically, the selection of the resources depends on person to person, because that is affected by the jobs they are holding, the time they can dedicate it to the study, and whatever resources you are selecting. What I believe is stick to one core resources, which is very important, because there is so much to cover for a plab 1 examination. Please do not take plab 1 examination for granted. you know there are so much information that you need to cover, and you need to prepare for plab 1 examination. And yes, a revision is very important. That is why I believe that sticking to one core study resources is pretty useful, because you can revise that later, pretty well, than jumping here and there, um, to the different resources gets you nowhere. So please stick to the one resources, try to revise that. So the first thing of my conclusion is, like, you need to make your own study plan, because that depends on the um, like your strength, your knowledge, back in medical school, and the time you can have for a dedicated study, and how much you can master the concept, and stick to that plan. And your plan includes the first initial phase of preparation, as well as the last months of the preparation, because it cannot be same preparation for your initial phase as well as in the last month. So in the last few months, you want to more focus on the mocks and revising all those wrong question that you have done in the mocks, and try to just revise that. And next thing is, self study is very important for plab 1. It is unlike plab 2, because in plab 2 you have to have a like study partner. It will make your task a lot easier, but in plab 1 you need to have time for a self study. It is very important. You need to grasp that concept, and revise more often. And yes, I've already mentioned that time management is very important thing. And what you can do for the time management, um you know um for the time management, as I've already mentioned, you try to familiarize yourself with the mocks. Try to do more mocks during at the end of your preparation, um, months, and just revise and revise. Don't try to memorize the question. Try to understand the concept. What I mean by that is just clearing your concept while you are attempting the question related to the topic, and just read the explanation. Do not skip a bit of information that is given in the explanation. And yes, if you have time, please go through the notes as well. Those are quite useful, and just basically know why that is your answer and why that is not your answer. And yes, revision is very important to pass the plab 1 examination. There are, if you ask me what are the most important thing to pass the examination, first thing is time management. Second thing is sticking to the one resources, because you have to revise and revise. And third thing is clearing your concept. And yes, revision is very important, so try to revise more and more of more and more. And it is very important to stick to one resources, and basically one core resources. And what I believe is sticking to one core resource is very important, because there are a lot of information that you need to cover. And do I mean to say that you cannot use other resources, or you cannot practice from other resources? No, if you have time, you can go go back to those resources and do the question from more than one resources that are slightly different, so that you can prepare from something else, and so that you are not surprised during the examination. It is always better to suck before than during. And yeah, it's up to you how you choose to do the question from the different resources, but you need to have that one core resources, so that you can always go back to that resources and revise your main core concepts. And yes, so next thing I want to talk about is the using the mocks correctly. So what I mean by that is, if you are doing the mocks from whatever resources, like, just do 180 question in 180 minutes. Why I'm telling this is because you have that real feeling of examination, that time pressured examination. You are going to familiarize yourself with the mocks and time pressured examination. And it will be easier for you to trace your time management after each and every mocks that you will do, because you will know that you are getting better or not with this time pressured examination. And next thing I want to tell about mocks is, please do not pause the mock in between after you start. Like, do not go with the flexibility. I do not suggest to do the mocks in chunk. If you have time, and especially at the end of your preparation, try to do a full mocks, and do not pause the examination, or do not get up in between the examination, or leave these mocks in between, and try to feel that a real time pressure examination. And when exam is near, rather than spending time to revise those long notes, try to do a multiple mocks, and try to trace your marks, and especially know what is your weakness, because it will help you to know your weakness, and try to go back and revise those topic or those section, and do not forget to reread, like, all the wrong question that you have done after finishing the mocks. So after you finish the mock, always go back and try to reread all the explanation of the wrong question that you have done. So this ends our video today. I hope this will help a lot of doctors out there. I'll see you in next video. Bye bye.